Wait, you're telling me I have to pay 10 quid for a season pass just after you made me pay 60 squid for this shit?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Diablo 4 is an ARPG, or action roleplay game, made by Bing Chi Ling Entertainment, the genius megaminds responsible for the creation of Overwatch porn and this balding sewer rat. Now, I'm very new to the ARPG thing. I usually play normal RPGs, and this is my first time experiencing a Diablo game. I saw that it had a character creation and buff mummy milkers and a sexy demon that would harvest my soul, and I was sold. Seeing all these fanboys creaming their pants for the next Diablo, I thought I'd add my newcomer's perspective to the creamy mixture. Not that anybody asked for it. However, when I bought this, I didn't realize it had seasons. And now I've got to commit to it like I'm paying child support when I thought I was getting a one-time bit of fun. F me, I guess. This game has the weirdest beta system I've ever seen. The early access beta is available for 3 days from the 16th to the 19th, but the actual beta releases on the 24th up until the 26th. But the game's proper release date is on June 6th. Me, man, which is it? Stop toying with me and just pick a fucking date. God knows what kind of microtransactions Blizzrape Entertainment is going to add to it on launch now that I've roped myself into this. I guess that'll teach me for not thinking with my smooth brain instead of thinking with my pee-pee. Now, my initial thoughts on the game itself are actually pretty good. The combat is more intuitive than I thought it would be. From an outsider's perspective, taking one look at this bukkake of numbers and sea of flashing lights and abilities would seem like it would stun-lock your average epileptic in 1 second flat. But it's actually fun and not all that daunting once you get into it. Its resemblance almost to the Dragon Age combat was another huge draw for me, because I'm a big fan of the Dragon Age franchise. Like others have already said, the voice acting is pretty decent. Definitely nothing to scoff at. But if I had to nitpick, the introduction to the story is a bit lackluster. There really isn't any build-up of your character's backstory or explaining the lore and setting of the world to new players like me. For some, this is probably a positive rather than a negative, but if you ask me, I'd like to be wined and dined before the game makes sweet love to my ass. I went for the Sorcerer class because I'm down bad for Morrigan from Dragon Age, and I'm happy to say I don't regret it. The spell casting is very visceral. It feels great, especially later on in the game when you've unlocked more powerful incantations. It does a good job at making you feel like an ice-cold badass, ragdolling silly little demons and skeletons that get in your way. Especially that chain lightning. Oh my god. The graphics and the cutscenes are on point. At times it's even breathtaking.
You're breathtaking!
At least for an ARPG. I wouldn't say it's groundbreaking, but it's definitely pleasant to look at. Especially the interiors from the top view camera, those landscape views. Obviously there are bound to be some technical issues and lag. Oh my god, the lag. At one point I got a blue screen, first one I've ever had in my life, which was pretty tense knowing that the game has already bricked people's graphics cards. I almost shit a brick when it happened. The last thing I need right now is my very expensive GPU to become the finest paperweight child labor can produce. Hopefully this doesn't happen again, otherwise I'd have to visit penisrocket.com for a replacement. Queue times weren't half bad, not like the ball ache others have experienced, probably because I'm on peasant European servers, so not as much traffic. Might be the only upside to living in the UK, that and drinkable tap water, I guess. I've leveled my character up to 20 now. I've done all the main missions the beta allows you to do, and a decent number of side missions and dungeons. In my opinion, the gameplay loop is starting to get repetitive already. The arduous treks between dungeon room to dungeon room, killing the same minions along the way is a slog. The bosses are decent, and I'm hoping they get more interesting when the full game finally releases, but honestly, I'm not quite sure yet if this grind fest is for me. Some huge areas on the map you would think would have teleport lodestones to ease the walking back and forth don't for some reason. Meaning I've got to hike through this fucking blizzard that I've already been through twice just to waste time talking with an NPC telling me I did a good job. And it doesn't help that the side quests are dotted randomly everywhere, and most of them essentially amount to doing nothing but menial chores. Honestly, there's more padding in this game than a C-Cup convention. Please let me know in the comments, long-term Diablo fans. Is this par for the course for Diablo? The kind of game you guys were expecting? Going in blind into a franchise and game genre I know nothing about, I guess I expected something a little different. Maybe it's too early into the game to tell, but I kind of expected a bit more RPG in an ARPG. I would have liked at least an option to either side with the church or side with Lilith to keep things a little fresh and allow for better replayability. Call me crazy, but a character class like the Necromancer that summons spooky scary skeletons don't seem like the type to be aligning with the light and the clergy of the edgelord worshippers. I understand that the custom character cutscenes are a new addition to the franchise, meaning Blizzard wanted to introduce a more customized experience for players, which is great, but why not go the extra mile and give us at least a couple story pathways too? I get that traditionally it's a game solely focused on the combat, but why not a bit of both? Why add cutscenes and a story if it's just throwaway? As for the dialogue, it would make the constant standing around listening to characters waffle on a lot more bearable if the character had any input in the conversation, aside from asking more questions. You know, I'm starting to feel like I'm not the target audience for this game. Pros complaining about balance issues and mechanics when I'm over here complaining about story. Hey, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I should have done more research before buying this. Aside from the barbarian demon titties, I might then have considered avoiding Grind Diablo 4. Welcome to hell. All jokes aside, it's an okay game. Any game that adds transmog and color wheels and a controller support is good in my book.